Have you ever wondered how ancient patterns still control you? It's a fascinating question, isn't it? We often think of ourselves as modern individuals making our own choices and forging our own paths. But what if I told you that deep within our minds, powerful, age-old blueprints are constantly influencing our thoughts, feelings, and actions? Welcome to Psypedia, and today we're diving deep into the power of archetypes. Get free from ancient patterns that still control you. Now you might be thinking, Archie, what's? Don't worry, it's not as complicated as it sounds. Think of archetypes as universal, primordial images and patterns that reside in our collective unconscious. It's like a shared library of human experience that all of us, regardless of where we come from or what era we live in, can tap into. These aren't personal memories, but rather inherited possibilities of ideas, ingrained in us over millennia of human existence. Imagine a character in a story, perhaps the wise old mentor, the brave hero, the nurturing mother, or the mischievous trickster. These aren't just characters in books or movies, they're reflections of archetypes that exist within all of us. They represent fundamental human experiences, roles, and motivations that have been repeated throughout history and across cultures. The concept of archetypes was most famously explored by the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. He believed that these archetypes emerge in our dreams, myths, fairy tales, and even in our everyday lives. They're like hidden drivers, subtly guiding our perceptions and behaviors. For example, think about the hero archetype. We see it everywhere, from ancient myths like Hercules and Beowulf to modern-day superheroes. The hero embarks on a journey, faces challenges, overcomes obstacles, and ultimately transforms. This isn't just a story. It's a pattern that resonates with something deep within us, our desire to grow, to face our fears, and to achieve something meaningful. When we feel compelled to overcome a personal struggle or stand up for what's right, the hero archetype might be at play within us. Then there's the mother archetype. This isn't just about biological mothers, but represents nurturing, unconditional love, compassion, and fertility. It can manifest in a teacher who inspires and cares for their students, a friend who offers unwavering support, or even in nature itself, providing sustenance and comfort. When you feel a strong urge to protect or care for something or someone, you might be experiencing the influence of the mother archetype. And what about the shadow archetype? This is often misunderstood. It's not necessarily evil, but rather represents the repressed, hidden, or unacknowledged parts of ourselves, the qualities we might deem undesirable or unacceptable. It could be our anger, our jealousy, our insecurities, or even our untapped potential. While often perceived negatively, acknowledging and integrating our shadow can lead to greater self-awareness and wholeness. Ignoring it, however, can lead to it manifesting in unhealthy ways, sometimes projecting onto others or leading to self-sabotage. So why is understanding these ancient patterns so important? Because whether we're aware of it or not, they are constantly influencing us. They shape our perceptions of ourselves and the world around us. They can drive our motivations, influence our relationships, and even dictate our life choices. If we're unaware of these underlying forces, we might find ourselves repeating patterns that don't serve us, feeling stuck, or simply not understanding why we react the way we do in certain situations. Think of it like this. If you're navigating a ship and there are strong currents beneath the surface that you're unaware of, you might end up drifting off course without understanding why. Archetypes are those currents. By understanding them, we can learn to navigate them more effectively, harnessing their power for positive change rather than being passively pulled along by them. This isn't about blaming some ancient pattern for our problems, but rather about gaining self-awareness. It's about recognizing the universal themes that play out in our individual lives, and then consciously choosing how we want to engage with them. It's about taking back control from these unconscious influences and becoming the architects of our own destinies. If you're ready to continue exploring how archetypes show up in our daily lives and how you can work with them to unleash your true potential, just let me know and we'll dive into the next part. Archetypes in action, spotting the patterns. So, how do these archetypes actually show up in our day-to-day lives? It's not always obvious, like a superhero cape suddenly appearing, but once you start looking, you'll see them everywhere. Think about your favorite movies or books. The characters often embody clear archetypes. The wise wizard Dumbledore from Harry Potter perfectly represents the sage archetype, the seeker of truth and knowledge, offering guidance and insight. Or consider Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games. She's a classic heroine, forced to face daunting trials and emerge transformed. Even everyday stories, like that friend who's always the life of the party, might be tapping into the jester or trickster archetype, bringing humor and disrupting the norm. But it's not just in fiction. Archetypes influence the roles we play in our families, at work, and in our social circles. Are you often the one who takes charge and organizes things? You might be embodying aspects of the ruler archetype, valuing order and control. Do you constantly seek new experiences and love to travel? Perhaps the explorer archetype is strong within you, driven by a need for discovery and freedom. Or maybe you're the quiet observer, always learning and reflecting, resonating with the innocent archetype's desire for simplicity and safety, or the orphan's feeling of being an outsider, which can lead to great independence. Even our consumer choices can be influenced. Why are certain brands so appealing? Many successfully tap into archetypal desires. A luxury car brand might appeal to the ruler archetype's desire for status and control, while an outdoor gear company speaks to the explorer's yearning for adventure. Understanding these patterns isn't about boxing ourselves into a category, it's about recognizing the energies and motivations that are already present within us and around us. It's about seeing the underlying structure beneath the surface of our experiences. This awareness is the first crucial step towards gaining agency over these ancient influences. Before we delve deeper into how you can actually work with these archetypes to transform your life, if you're finding this exploration as fascinating as I do, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Psypedia for more insights into the human mind, and don't forget to turn on that notification bell so you don't miss our future explorations. Your support helps us bring more powerful knowledge to light. Beyond recognition, working with archetypes, now that we've seen how archetypes show up in our lives, the big question is, how can we work with them instead of being unknowingly controlled by them? This isn't about becoming a different person, but about becoming more of yourself, a more conscious and empowered version. The first step, as we've discussed, is awareness. Simply recognizing an archetypal pattern at play can be incredibly liberating. For instance, if you find yourself always trying to fix everyone's problems, you might recognize the rescuer archetype operating. This awareness allows you to pause and ask, is this truly helpful? Am I enabling others? Or am I genuinely supporting them in a healthy way? This conscious questioning gives you a choice, rather than just reacting automatically. The next step is exploration and integration. Once you identify an archetype influencing you, delve deeper. How does this archetype serve you? How might it be holding you back? For example, the warrior archetype embodies courage, discipline, and the ability to fight for what's right. These are powerful strengths. However, if overemphasized, it might lead to aggression, burnout, or an inability to compromise. Understanding this duality allows you to integrate the positive aspects while mitigating the potential downsides. One powerful way to explore archetypes is through storytelling and personal reflection. Think about a challenge you're facing. What archetypes feel relevant to this situation? If you're feeling stuck, perhaps you need to tap into the explorer to find new paths, or the creator to innovate. If you're struggling with boundaries, maybe the warrior needs to step forward. You can journal about these archetypes, visualize them, or even engage in creative expression like drawing or writing to better understand their influence on you. Another crucial aspect is shadow work. Remember the shadow archetype we talked about, the parts of ourselves we deny or repress? These often contain immense energy and potential. For example, if you suppress your anger, it doesn't just disappear, it might manifest as passive aggressiveness or resentment. By consciously acknowledging and accepting these quote-unquote shadow qualities, we can integrate them in a healthy way. This doesn't mean acting out every negative impulse, but rather understanding its root and transforming its energy into something constructive. Acknowledging your anger, for instance, might help you set firmer boundaries. This journey of understanding and integrating archetypes is a continuous process of self-discovery. It empowers you to navigate life's challenges with greater wisdom and intention. Practical ways to engage with archetypes. Understanding your inner patterns. Now, let's get practical. How can you actively engage with these powerful archetypes to create positive change in your life? This isn't about altering your core beliefs, but about understanding and consciously working with the universal human patterns that influence us all, regardless of background or faith. One effective technique is focused self-reflection. This involves deeply considering your own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors in relation to a particular archetypal pattern. For example, if you're struggling with a challenge and need to draw on inner strength, you might reflect on the qualities of the warrior archetype: courage, determination, and discipline. Ask yourself, how can I embody these qualities in this specific situation? What actions would reflect this inner strength? This is about conscious introspection and applying recognized human virtues to your life. Another powerful method is narrative restructuring. Think about a current challenge in your life. Instead of viewing it as just a problem, try to frame it as a narrative or a significant turning point in your personal story. Who are you in this story? What archetypal role feels most relevant to the challenge you face? For instance, if you're embarking on a new venture, you might see yourself as the explorer, navigating new territories. If you're creating something new, you might identify with the creator. By reframing your experiences through these universal human patterns, you can gain perspective, identify your inherent strengths, and envision a path forward based on universal human experiences of growth and overcoming. Symbolic action and intention setting can also be incredibly effective. Archetypes often express themselves through universally understood human symbols or actions that represent deeper meaning. If you're trying to embody qualities like focus or dedication, you might set a clear intention for yourself. This could be anything from dedicating a specific time each day to a task, to writing down your goals, or adopting a new habit that symbolizes the growth you wish to achieve. These conscious actions help to reinforce the desired qualities within your own mindset and behavior. Consider also the power of role modeling and emulation. When you need to access a particular quality, think about individuals, historical figures, or even characters from stories who exemplify that quality. If you need wisdom, how would a sage figure approach this situation? If you need compassion, how would a nurturer act? This isn't about losing yourself, but about observing and learning from universally admired human traits and then choosing to integrate those virtues into your own conduct. This can be particularly helpful before important decisions, difficult conversations, or when you need to approach a situation with a specific mindset. Finally, understanding your recurring thoughts and behavioral patterns can provide a rich source of insight into the archetypal influences within you. Pay attention to consistent ways you react to situations, the types of challenges you repeatedly face, or even the kinds of people you are drawn to. Often, these patterns are reflections of deeper archetypal dynamics at play in your subconscious. Reflecting on these can reveal valuable information about your inner landscape and help you make more conscious choices. By actively engaging with archetypes through these universally accessible psychological practices, you're not just observing them, you're participating in their unfolding within your own life in a conscious and empowering way. This transforms them from hidden influences into powerful resources for personal growth. The freedom that comes from understanding. So why go through all this effort to understand these ancient patterns? The ultimate goal is freedom. Freedom from being unconsciously driven by forces you don't recognize. Freedom to make more intentional choices. Freedom to be more authentically yourself. Imagine feeling stuck in a repetitive cycle, perhaps always playing the martyr archetype, constantly sacrificing your own needs for others, leading to resentment and exhaustion. Or perhaps you frequently find yourself in conflict, unknowingly embodying the rebel archetype in every situation, even when cooperation would be more beneficial. When you gain awareness of these patterns, it's like shining a light into a dimly lit room. You suddenly see the furniture, the exits, and the possibilities you couldn't perceive before. This understanding allows you to choose your response, rather than simply reacting. If you recognize the urge to act like a martyr, you can pause and ask, is this truly serving me and others in this moment, or am I falling back into an old pattern? This pause, this moment of conscious choice, is where true freedom lies. It's about shifting from being a passenger to becoming the conscious driver of your own life. Embracing archetypal understanding also leads to greater self-acceptance. We all contain multitudes. We all have aspects of the hero, the caregiver, the warrior, and even the shadow within us. When we acknowledge these universal patterns, we realize that many of our flaws or struggles are simply expressions of archetypal energies that might be out of balance or unacknowledged. This perspective can reduce self-judgment and foster a deeper sense of compassion for ourselves and others. When you see someone acting out a particular negative pattern, you might recognize the underlying archetypal energy that, if channeled differently, could be a great strength. Furthermore, it enhances our relationships. When you understand that others are also influenced by these universal patterns, you can develop more empathy. If a friend consistently seeks validation, you might recognize the innocent seeking safety and approval. If a family member is always trying to control situations, you might see the ruler archetype at play. This doesn't excuse negative behavior, but it helps you understand the underlying human motivations, leading to more constructive interactions and a reduction in personalizing conflicts. Ultimately, the power of understanding archetypes is about becoming a more whole and integrated individual. It's about bringing the unconscious to consciousness, allowing you to live a life that is more aligned with your true potential and values. It's about leveraging these deep, universal currents of human experience to navigate your unique journey with greater wisdom and peace. Your lifelong journey, living with archetypal awareness. Before we wrap up this insightful journey, if you found value in understanding these profound patterns that shape us, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Psypedia for more explorations into the human mind, and don't forget to turn on that notification bell so you don't miss our future discussions. Your support helps us continue to bring these powerful insights to a wider audience. Now, as we bring our discussion to a close, you might be asking yourself some crucial questions. This isn't a one-time revelation. It's a lifelong journey of self-discovery and conscious living. Here are some questions you might consider as you reflect on the power of archetypes in your own life. Which archetypes feel most dominant in my life right now? Are they serving me, or are they leading me down familiar, unhelpful paths? What aspects of my shadow have I been avoiding? What repressed qualities or emotions, if acknowledged and integrated, could become a source of strength? How can I consciously invite or strengthen a particular archetypal energy when I need it most? For example, if I need courage, how can I embody the hero? If I need compassion, how can I tap into the caregiver? What old patterns or stories am I ready to release? Which unconscious scripts are no longer serving my highest good? How can understanding archetypes help me better understand and connect with the people around me? The beauty of this knowledge is that it empowers you to become a more conscious participant in your own life story. You're no longer just reacting to circumstances. You're actively shaping your experiences by understanding the deep, universal currents that flow through all of us. This isn't about control in a rigid sense, but about cultivating wisdom, flexibility, and a deeper connection to your authentic self. Embracing archetypal awareness allows you to recognize the recurring themes in your life, to understand why certain situations or challenges keep appearing, and most importantly, to choose a different, more empowering response. It helps you unlock hidden potentials and transform perceived weaknesses into sources of strength. It's about stepping into your full human capacity, guided by ancient wisdom yet applied to your modern life. This journey of self-exploration is continuous, unfolding with each new experience and reflection. The more you pay attention, the more these ancient patterns will reveal themselves, offering guidance and insight. What questions are you asking yourself after today's discussion? What ancient patterns have you recognized in your own life? Share your thoughts and questions in the comments below. We love to hear from you and build this community of curious minds. Thank you for joining us on Psypedia. Until next time, peace out.